Hello, clever people, and welcome to my review for The Lighthouse. So The Lighthouse stars Willem Dafoe and Robert Pattinson, and it is a film directed by Robert Eggers, who recently directed The Witch. He's a very well-renowned director who, after The Witch came out, a lot of people knew his name, and a lot of people were looking forward to what he did next, which happened to be The Lighthouse. And this movie follows the story of two lighthouse guarders around the 1890s in New England who experience a lot of really weird, surreal, and kind of dreamlike things. That's really the best way to describe this movie because this movie's plot is extremely thin. It mostly just has to do with these two guys on this remote island guarding this lighthouse. That's really entirely what the movie is about. There's not a whole lot else going on. And honestly, I was very appreciative of a movie that did not have the whole world that it had to focus on. It had a very small scale, yet what it does in the movie is absolutely insane. My expectations were high going into this movie, and the type of movie I was expecting is actually not what I got at all. Yes, it's very strange, it's very formalist, and it's definitely very expressive, but it is a movie that is incredibly entertaining, surprisingly, and also pretty funny. And even though it is a very strange, surreal experience, it's not the type of surreal experience you're used to. It's not a 2001: A Space Odyssey type feeling. It's a movie where after you watch a scene, you think back on it and you realize that watching the movie and all your memories from the movie feel like distant memories from your own life, which is achieved through the wonderful cinematography and the great use of aspect ratio. And the performances in here are absolutely stunning. Willem Dafoe, I've always known he's a good actor, but seeing him in this, and even seeing him in a little movie like Motherless Brooklyn, it's so easy to forget how much of a treasure he is, how much he dedicates to each role, and this is probably the best role I've ever seen from Willem Dafoe. He was dedicated 100% of the time. He was so into his character, and honestly, I was just really, really happy to see an actor go this far with a role, and I really do hope that he is nominated for Best Supporting Actor. But also, Robert Pattinson isn't getting much attention because Willem Dafoe's taking all of it, but he also did an exceptional job, especially towards the later part of the movie. Being the lead, he has a lot more to do, and there's so much more pressure on him, and he captures it all so well. And of course, Robert Eggers, as director of this movie, he is absolutely exceptional. Though his way of direction is just stunning. I have not seen The Witch, and I do plan to, but I didn't want any preconceived notion of what his movies were like going into this. So going into this, me having this be my first experience, I just love the way that he directs movies. He knows exactly how to manipulate the elements of films so that he can make it reflect what vision he has and not have to rely on an editor and not have to rely on the actors trying to sell the idea. In fact, take the performances from this movie and put them in other movies, and their performances could seem like completely different performances because the way that he shoots things, he uses the components of films, the shot, and everything like that is the way to tell the story and tell the emotions. It's a very Soviet Union way of doing things, the way that Pudovkin originally used the idea of juxtapositioning shots to create a bigger idea. That's kind of what Eggers does here, and it's a very effective way of filmmaking that I personally could never do, but whenever somebody does it effectively, I'm in awe. So in the end, The Lighthouse is just a fantastic film. It's one that's very hard to recommend to people because it's so strange and bizarre, but if you know what kind of experience you're going to get out of it, you will end up really, really loving it. I will give The Lighthouse an 8.5 out of 10. Alright, that concludes my review for The Lighthouse. So, what are your thoughts on this film, or have you seen The Witch, and what do you think of it? Comment in the comment section below, and let me know. I'm Robert Burke, and this has been Clever Critics. Goodbye.